This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
In the heat of battle, your squad relies on you. Don't let them down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Dominate every match with next-level speed, seamless streaming, and performance that won't quit, so you can push your gameplay beyond performance with Intel Core Ultra processors. For the next era of gaming, upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E and maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search. Power up at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
It checks out. Come on!
Thank you.
Minnesota is so hot.
Shake what?
Good morning and welcome to the Fan. Paul Charch in today with Eric Nordquist. PA is out. I gotta trying to remember what scabies. Yeah, for PA.
That's true.
Scabies texted me some of the photos. You don't want scabies. It's apparently a severe case. They tend to burrow into whatever your moistest cracks are is where they like to be, Eric. And as I'm sure he sent you the same pictures he sent me. The scabies, the itching, the swelling, the rashing. Yeah, it's bad. So PA out with scabies.
Well, it's weird too because typically you might hear whether it would be a public restroom facility or some way that someone might contract it.
Right.
He got it from coming in intimate contact with various office supplies here at 1600 Utica Avenue South.
Yeah, I'm impressed they have office supplies here. It's
a very unorthodox way.
Right, it is. You don't normally get scabies that way.
Doctors are puzzled.
Yep.
But if you know him really, really well, you're not shocked by this at all.
There's nothing he won't do to a Sharpie.
No, that...
No, that's what we've learned over this whole scabies incident.
Yeah,
with PA.
BYO writing utensils.
Yeah, right, exactly. Brought my own red pen. Right, nobody else have a red pen, just me.
I've worked with PA for almost 12 years, and you know what? It was I learned that. But it was a tough first 3 months.
Right. It's a learning process.
Now I got my pens.
Right. The new interns, they always struggle learning. If you see a Sharpie that's ever been with PA, do not touch it.
Stay away from it.
That thing's plutonium to you. Absolutely true. Alec Lewis, good morning. Thank you for coming in.
What a conversation to walk into.
It's not our fault PA's got scabies. Scabies.
Listen, you tell me anything about that guy.
You won't be surprised.
At all whatsoever. I mean, Nordo, you guys were at the Omni Hotel the other day while the tush-push shenanigans were going on.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he was, I worry about him when he's in an environment and Arthur Blank's walking around. I just worry. I don't know. It's good to see you guys.
And, good to see you, too. Yeah, it's been a little while.
When he gets within 10 feet of an NFL odor, anything is possible. Anything is possible.
And it's like this beautiful hotel, and these meetings are obviously so serious because they're voting on meaningless plays in the grand scheme of life. But yeah, he's in there. You guys were hosting a show, and Jerry Jones is butting up his pants outside the bathroom.
That's where he got the scabies right there, baby.
I just worry. That's all I'm saying.
Jerry Jones.
Anything that happens you put BA in a setting like that, and it's interesting. Anyway,
you need help, Mr. Jones?
Hi. Good morning.
Great. Good morning. Good morning. Last night.
Yeah. Let's hit on the Wolves game, and we'll talk about it throughout the show. We've got Dave Sinekin coming in at 10:00 in the zone, of course. Great. They talk football, basketball all the time. We'll talk to him about Wolves. We'll talk a little Packers as well, but mostly Wolves today. 11:00, Alan Horton, the radio voice of the Vikings. So, geez, Wolves. So lots of Wolves talk coming. Unfortunately, you watched the game?
I did.
I am not a basketball historian. Maybe you are, and I don't know it.
No.
To my eyes, we are watching one of the greatest defensive teams of all time. And we feel like a road bump en route to their destiny.
Yeah. In covering the Vikings, Alec, if you were ever wondering, man, sometimes I notice I'll throw an article out, just drop a quick 5,000 words. And, I just check the comments section. I know I shouldn't, but I do. And, man, Vikings fan base, you're feeling a little bit of a defeatist attitude at times. What you've watched through 2 games of this series, Alec, is just another explanation as to why that's the case.
Yeah. Well, I've told this story before, but like my first year, I remember after week 2, they go to Philadelphia on Monday night.
I remember it well.
And Donatel asked the cornerbacks to line up 14 yards off the line of scrimmage.
Oh, my goodness.
And I never forget, I wrote a story after that game. And there were probably 300 comments, and they were ripping me, and they're ripping the team, and they're ripping Donatel. And my mom calls me the next day, and she's like, boy, these people over there are mad. I was like, yeah. Anyway, Nora, I do want to ask you this, because I had a buddy text me this last night who lives here, and I think it might be a worthwhile jumping off point. The question was, like, is OKC really just this good, or are the Wolves just so vastly underperforming where it's obviously game 1, bench doesn't show up, game 2, Julius Randle was kind of nowhere to be found. But that question is interesting to me.
Where it gets to be a harder question is, last round, Denver took them to 7.
Yeah.
Right. And granted, they got blown out in the 7th game, but still, Denver pressed them to 7. So it's a little bit hard to just fall back on, well, the Thunder are a team of destiny. Against the Wolves, they look like a team of destiny. The relentless attacking that they have. It's the nonstop wave after wave of athletic, fast players who chase every ball, who never give up on plays. That is a team that is always buzzing, always. And it makes, in comparison, the Wolves look lethargic and disinterested. And maybe that's not a fair comparison. Maybe the Thunder are just that special, but you can't help but draw the comparison because they're on the court at the same time. And one team is battling every step of the way, and one team doesn't seem to be.
Yeah. Well, I think you're looking at a team right now, to that end, the motivated defense that they play, and they were the best defensive team throughout the regular season, and the stats in the playoffs have only been, that spectrum has only grown from the standpoint, most steals and turnovers created, fewest steals and turnovers that they're offering. So that gap continues to widen, and you're seeing points off of turnovers, massive disparity in that. I have a hard time because the 7-game series after OKC just thoroughly dispatches easily of Memphis early on. And you got Joker and Jamal Murray. It feels like he's always going to be dealing with something. You're going to hear about a pregame illness, a nicked up ankle, something this time of the year with him. It's perpetual. But Christian Brown has kind of come on. Peyton Watson, one of their defenders, doesn't score a bunch, but he's good for a couple of steals a game. Each of these series, each of these teams, so vastly different. So the matchups look a little bit different. I think Joker provides something for them, the MVP, closer to the hoop that the Wolves do not provide. And I also look, the inconsistency of this Wolves team through the two series in some ways could have been a foreboding or foreshadowing storyteller as to what we would see through these first two games. The shooting has not been good enough, albeit you win both those series in 5 games. I think Anthony Edwards has had just absolutely putrid starts to games throughout this postseason. But then at the end of the night, you're looking at the box score, you're like, that's pretty damn good. And he takes over a third quarter, you take over a fourth quarter, whatever it is, and ultimately finds his way to the right numbers and finds his way to success in the right moments. So you see those sorts of things, but Nas has had a putrid postseason, and Dante DiVincenzo has had an absolutely horrendous postseason. And until last night, where Nickeil Alexander-Walker was at least one guy in the fourth quarter that was able to match the intensity of what Anthony Edwards was trying to do, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker had a mostly awful postseason. So when you put all that together, even last night you see a couple of threes drop early, but they're still just shooting 35% from the floor. And then Ant, towards the end, he does hit one triple in the fourth, but you could see there was almost this, I'm 1 of 8 from deep. I'm just going to take it to the hoop, and something's got to freaking happen here. We're going to go down. We're going to lose by 8 instead of 20, but I'm going to keep taking it to the rim. Got to the line a couple of times as well. So that aggressiveness, a little too late with the third quarter outbursts in both games. But I honestly, I'm starting to just look at it right now. And then Randall, he was so awful yesterday. The coach is like, take the fourth quarter off to your number two guy. Yeah, that's how bad it was. And so I think you're just looking at, I don't know if it's Team of Destiny, whatever it is. I think you're looking at a very poised and gelled group. And you're looking at a very frustrated and discombobulated Wolves team that definitely, through 2 games, not even close in the class of OKC.
Well, you can feel like the Wolves' frustration through the screen almost. Obviously, you guys will talk for 3 hours probably about Shea and the whistle and all that stuff. And whatever.
That's secondary to me, but yeah.
Yeah, but you could just feel like the undiscipline by comparison to this Thunder team that you mentioned it. You said it, Charch. Like there are guys that will sub in the Aaron Wiggins of the world, the Kenrich Williams, and you forget that they've got that guy. Oh, they've got that guy.
And here he is making plays.
Right. Cason Wallace is everywhere, all over, everywhere, nonstop. But the one thing, Nordo, you said the first 2 series and some of the inconsistency might have been foreboding. It's almost, I almost want to broaden it as the whole season of inconsistency in some ways, and I know they were great. Obviously, Randall comes back, and
they were mostly terrific down the stretch.
Right, down the stretch they were, but this Thunder team, it's not like they've got to crank it up. They've had it cranked up all year, so it's it's interesting. It is going to be very. You're against the ropes. You're on the mat here. What do you got? I'll be curious to see.
Yeah. Well, and that's the toughest thing for me, because I want to sell hope into Game 3, sell it to myself, and just kind of the idea of, okay, well, if you win both at home, then we kind of got to reset this conversation a bit, of course, right? And then it's a 3-game series. So that is certainly not impossible.
It's tall.
But what goes into that? You're talking not just man, it stinks. Game one, for instance, you're not just, well, when Anthony Edwards left with the ankle for a quarter, that really changed things. No, it didn't. They weren't hitting baskets. They weren't defending well. Sure, there was an SGA whistle, and then last night, still not as many as game one, but stupid turnovers. The ball stops moving when you're trying to back people down, and the second guy comes in and they double you. They take the ball away and they're headed the other way. You're not getting enough fast break points. I mean, there's a laundry list, a shopping list, if you will, of things that have to be markedly different into game three. It's very difficult for me at 9:12 in the morning to say that we're still very much in this. It feels, there's an anvil got dropped on their heads in OKC.
I can hear it in your voice.
The one thing I felt had to change from game one, that the Wolves had to do better, and they did it. And I thought this thing was going to be closer because of it, was they had to slow down the pace of play. You can't run with the Thunder. In game one, the Wolves are just trailing up and down the court, the Thunder, the whole game. This game, game two, they got the Thunder to play a lot of half-court basketball, and for half, it was working. And then that final sequence of the half, and you hate to put too much emphasis on anything that happens in the second quarter, but that final sequence of the half where Oklahoma City scores with like 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds left.
Yeah, makes it a 6-point game.
6-point game.
Or 7 and change remaining, 7 seconds or so.
Wolves get the ball, commit a blocking foul? Not a blocking foul, like a lane violation?
Well, I forget. I think it was an illegal screen on DiVincenzo.
Yes, it was. That's exactly what it was. Illegal, illegal screen. And now they're shooting two, and the whole momentum, the building all changed, the momentum changed, and then that rolled right into the third quarter, and the Wolves get blown out in the third quarter, just like game one.
And that team, the way they play, it's like, they push the boulder like to the edge of the hill, and when the momentum is on their side, that boulder is just downhill to an incredible degree. And that's the thing about that team, is they just go on runs where it's just, that first game, in game one, Chris Finch called 2 timeouts in a span of like 1 minute, just trying to just quell the momentum. But Nordo, you did say it well in the sense that it is there's like, Charch is talking about wanting to play more in the half court. The problem is their half court defense is still incredible because they have great rim protection with Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet. Yeah. And then having that level of rim protection allows you to play so aggressive on the perimeter, because if you funnel guys into the paint, those guys are there waiting. And then if you can't get into the paint and you have to settle for corner threes, that's great if you're hitting them. But if you're not, and it's a disaster. And then you talk about, are you getting them in rhythm? We can have that conversation, but it's been tough.
The 2022, I think, is when it was. You were mentioning the Vikings season and just kind of your baptism into Minnesota sports. And if I remember correctly, despite what was ultimately a playoff season, tough loss, it's 4th and 8, it's Kirk to TJ, the whole bit, scoring in third quarters was such a problem for they'd get you on the opening possession, the Vikings would, but getting points in third quarters was awful. So that made potential 10, 14-point victories turn into 3 and 7-point victories. And I forget how many one-score games. They were like 11-0 or something like that in one-score games.
Yeah, that's correct.
So what we're seeing is the transformation over Chris Finch's time has been an emphasis on third quarters. And, in a lot of cases, that's extending the 6 or 7 point lead to 15 into the final frame. That leads to good things. Coming out and laying an egg in third quarters is a disastrous game, is leading to disastrous results. That's what OKC is doing to us right now. Game one, 7.5 minutes left. The Wolves have a 4-point lead. They leave the quarter down 10-12. That balloons ultimately to a 26-point loss. Similarly, last night, you're on that grind, and every time you'd hit a bucket, it's a little 4 or 5 point burst by OKC. They're third quarters. That's where they're winning this series. That's how they beat the Wolves in the regular season, outscoring them by 20, outscoring them by 9, etc. And that's exactly what we're seeing in these two games. And there are, the things that we've talked about play into that a bit. But the discipline of this team, the runs that they go on, specifically in the third, it's freaking lights out before the final frame comes in. And you think about how clutch Anthony Edwards can be, the hill's too far to climb.
I fear it may be. Nordo, I know we want to get talkbacks at some point. Do you want to start that process now?
Well,
with our beloved farmers on the thresher, as they're listening right now, we're in the reap versus sow. We're in the reaping
I think we are
period
in the reaping
right now,
period,
right?
yes.
I think we're reaping at this stage.
Is that a farm? You're talking about like the stage at which we're farming?
Yes.
Yeah, it's planting season.
I know I'm from Alabama, but you guys are out of.
They don't have farms in Alabama,
right? Do they have food there?
They have plenty of farms. I just don't follow the reap sow patterns. You know?
Yeah,
just whatever's on the table. You just eat it. You don't care about how it gets
reap
there.
what you sow. So we're sowing now.
No. Let me make it very clear. I respect the work that they do in reaping and sowing is the gratitude that I have internally for that is immense. But I don't know anything about it.
No, neither do I.
Oh, we have listeners who do, Nordo.
Yeah, we do. Thanks to Sioux Cub Manufacturing, we've been doing this all week. Fan on the Farm and Tractor Talkbacks, a free iHeartRadio app. Fair amount of our listening audience uses the app. You hit that microphone, you give us up to your best 30 seconds. From a farming standpoint, where are you at? What you farming? From a Howell standpoint, we've been doing this all week too. At one point it was, how do you beat OKC? Then it was, how do you come back from what we saw in game 1 against OKC? And now
I think, Nordo, right now, it's if the Wolves were to win this, what went right?
Ooh.
So we'll be positive right now.
Yeah.
If the Wolves were to win this thing, game 7, what went right? What did they do right to get that win?
This is what makes Charch. I mean, this is how you know he's done it
the
for
immense
a long
positivity.
time.
Well, yeah.
That's a great framing. I'm very impressed.
Friday feast, 9 to noon raise. Host has scabies. He has to step in and provide some positivity.
Reaping and sowing. Right. Yeah, we don't know the difference, but I have not. It's been confirmed you sow before you reap. We're in sowing period, not reaping period.
Oh, yeah, we did have that opposite.
Yes, we had that opposght. You reap what you sow. So we're sowing right here.
Seeds right now.
That's right.
And discretion is the better part of valor.
And then we
are.
Indeed it is. Absolutely.
We're going to take it one game at a time.
So I asked that listeners offer some discretion from an FCC violation standpoint. Keep those talkbacks clean. But one of you today, later towards the end of the show, is going to win a Sioux Cub Manufacturing prize pack, Carhartt cooler, Brumé canteen, portable JBL speaker, coffee tumbler, hoodie, and a Sioux Cup baseball cap. Thank you to Sioux Cub Manufacturing. But, we're going to sprinkle in those talkbacks throughout the show today. And then when we return, more with Alec Lewis, not only on the how, but Vikings and organized team activities. He put a piece out yesterday. We're going to continue that conversation with Alec Lewis around the corner. You're listening to 9 to noon, which all we do is give. Thanks to Sioux Cup Manufacturing for that prize pack. And thank you to BigDeck.com for joining up with the fan. We want to give you a chance to win some bonus bucks. It's a national cash contest. All you got to do is go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword grand. You might win $1,000. Some bonus bucks if you use the keyword grand, and that is all at KFAN.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Come on, why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity. With Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance that keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com. Lenovo. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Ooh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, is telling everyone, let's face it in therapy. By talking or texting with a supportive, licensed therapist at Talkspace, you can face whatever is holding you back, whether it's mental health symptoms, relationship drama, past trauma, bad habits, or another challenge that you need support to work through. It's easy to sign up. Just go to Talkspace.com and you'll be paired with a provider, typically within 48 hours. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule. Plus, Talkspace is in-network with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. Make your mental health a priority and start today. If you're not covered by insurance, get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80. That's SPACE80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80.
And
Nobody's talking about Rudy Gobert. And it's honestly infuriating because he is non-existent. It's like OKC is on a power play the whole game. Hartenstein and Holmgren can just sit on the low block and play help defense and not have to think twice because Rudy's not going to catch the ball, or if he does, it's probably going to hit his toes or his knee or something and he's going to turn the ball over. He had 5 points in 30 minutes. If he's not going to be an offensive threat, he needs to get every loose ball, every rebound, but he's not doing that.
Well, that's all true. Did not meet the criteria of our tractor talkback. Although I like Thresher. Well, it doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well, the Thresher talkback, but that's all fair. All fair criticisms of Gobert. The paint offense has been basically invisible.
Yeah.
And his defense. How many times in these two games has Rudy Gobert gotten a hand on a rebound, but not ended up with the rebound? Constantly.
It feels like when he has the ball, the Thunder's like, it's like an alarm goes off in the Thunder players' ears of like, we can just take it right now, type deal.
It's I think criticism of Gobert is,
it was the same conversation we had last year too.
It is. I don't want to get captured too much in the moment, but the Gobert trade and the Cat trade are weighing on me right now. We got the players involved in those trades are giving us nothing. Granted, we are in the Western Conference Finals, and that's not for nothing. But the players that got us, these key trades, they're not helping us. I mean, Randall was benched, right? Dante DiVincenzo is bad. He is hurting this team. He went -20 and -21. Sorry, 27 in the two games.
I think it was 27, yeah.
Yes. Oh.
Nordo, y'all had Dane Moore on earlier this week.
Yeah, we did.
He was talking about Ant,
great.
getting doubled and getting it to Rudy in the short roll and how that was not a productive operation. And then Dane was like, the question for him was, do you keep him on the floor or do you not? And it's like, you're having a conversation about a guy who's been paid a lot of money, who a lot of resources have gone to, and you're questioning whether he should be on the floor or not, which is obvious because you said it. It's not a new conversation, but it's tough.
Well, the thing with Dane too, and it was great that he pointed this out, is in that moment, it's the right play. But from a decision-making standpoint, you have to decide, okay, this is the right play. I should do this. But is that the right person on the other side of the right play?
Exactly.
And Rudy has not been that guy. And I remember last year it was this, we were so excited after beating the Nuggets in Game 7, and then we're watching Suddenly we were all very, very aware when Rudy would get in traffic with the ball and that thing would be punched out.
Yep.
And against this team, with the way they swarm, he is not safe anywhere on the court with the ball right now. They found some ways to get him some easy ones last night versus trying to get him to have to take a step, sometimes 2 steps. And he did his thing. There was another, he turned around from about 6 feet and just clanked one. Some of that's where, the thing with Rudy for me is how much awareness does Rudy have? Because I think the onus is on him to have that awareness. You know what I mean? Where it's, we love Rudy, and when he's putting up, he had a 25-25 type game. I think just a month ago, something like that.
Yeah, he was like a superhero.
It was great, right? And he can do that, and he's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year for very, very good reason and impacting things. And we need Rudy to be in those spots where he can help against Hartenstein and Holmgren, the 2 guys that he mentioned in that talkback, which he's right about. But the fact that they can truly just wait for Rudy. Get the rebound, Rudy. That's cool. I'm just going to take it away from you. And we're headed the other way like an unstoppable freight train, and we're going to put it down. We're going to put it down on the other end. It's he has become offensively certainly not an option, and even defensively on the glass, it's a problem that seems unfixable. Which means with what they have in the front court and what Naz is offering, which sadly is near nothing. When you can't rely on Rudy and Naz is not doing his thing, you might not have a chance. I mean, that's the destitute nature of it, which is why we need some positive and optimistic talkbacks.
So we are asking for your talkbacks from the Thresher, ideally, on if the Wolves were to win this series, what went right? You could spin that. I mean, you could spin it into, well, Rudy Gobert's got to get better. But you can find ways. We're gonna aim for some optimism.
That's a spin.
It is. We'll talk more Wolves with Dave Sinekin at 10, Alan Horton at 11, and Alec Lewis is in studio with us from The Athletic. I've got some Vikings stuff pent up for you because I haven't been on the air for a month.
Anything but the tush push, and I'd love to talk
right?
about it.
Glad
if
it's
I have
done.
to do more, I mean, like I sat in that Omni Hotel for the spring owners meetings. The weather, it was 45 degrees on May 19th. I was starting to question a lot of things about my life. The best part about being there was the food. I mean, that Omni staff, they put together oyster mushroom polenta. I mean, I was just sitting there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what was going on.
That sounds so slimy. All 3 parts of that.
Yeah, it was crazy. Anyway,
I like polenta.
Yeah, the polenta.
And I love oysters.
No, it was an oyster mushroom, not oysters like the
oyster
creature.
mushrooms.
Right.
Oh,
right.
gotcha. Yeah, oyster is a type of mushroom.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Anyway,
now I'm with you.
There's a lot of tush push talk, and I
not up on my fungus apparently.
It's not. Yeah. You got to improve your mushroom game.
Yep.
Reap what you mushroom. That was terrible.
That was terrible. I got a couple of Vikings things for you.
Sure.
My hottest take for the Vikings. My biggest contrarian take.
I want to hear it. You always got something like this.
Jordan Mason is going to be the Vikings' number 1 lead runner, and very possibly week 1.
Well, I mean, they paid Aaron Jones $10 million for this season.
They did, and I'm not saying Aaron Jones won't be on the field. In part because Jordan Mason's not a pass catcher. Aaron Jones is an above-average pass-catching back. Jordan Mason, at age 25, whatever he is,
very
right?
young.
At age 25, with a career 5.3 yards per carry average, Jordan Mason is a better every down runner than Aaron Jones is at this stage of their respective careers.
I don't think it's the craziest take. Now, week 1,
you've had crazier.
Yeah. Like Ty Chandler is the next Gale Sayers.
Well, it wasn't quite. I think I said Barry Sanders. I mean, quote me correctly.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I will say Jordan Mason. I mean, you guys both remember. I think it was week 2 this past year at US Bank Stadium. He had 20 carries for 100 yards. The Vikings, I don't know if the windows were closed that day, but it was so hot in that stadium. And I know some of the 49ers people thought that day that they were trying to smoke him out. Yeah. But Jordan Mason, I remember, I mean, you hear that Christian McCaffrey's not playing in the game. And so from a reporter standpoint, you're thinking, man, this puts the Vikings in even better position to maybe go, beat the 49ers and for Brian Flores' defense to really perform. And then Jordan Mason out there is pressing the edge and cutting back and wiggling his way through holes and gaps. And you're like, who the heck is this guy? Undrafted dude from Tennessee. Went to Georgia Tech. He played at Georgia Tech with Jahmyr Gibbs, which is interesting. I imagine that was a fun time for the running backs coach there.
Watching Jahmyr Gibbs,
Yeah. So, no, I will say that move, it happened on a Saturday night, kind of after a flurry of some of the free agency stuff. So it didn't probably, and it didn't get a massive play. But it was a move that, probably, to your point, to your take, we're going to be talking a lot about this fall because he's just a bruising runner who also has vision with upside. And it's really nice to look at this team and feel like running in short yardage is now possible because it just hasn't been.
No, in 13 carries from inside the 5 last year, inside the 5-yard line, Aaron Jones had -2 yards. I mean, you just, and Jones knows that. So when we did the official Vikings draft party on draft night, day 1, Thursday, April 24th, whatever, Aaron Jones was there, just like he was the previous year. We all love Aaron Jones. I asked him, how does your role change with Jordan Mason? And he immediately said, tough yards. The short yardage stuff is, he told me, the short yardage stuff is going to Jordan Mason. So we're seeding that. And that I don't even think is controversial. He's 20 or 30 pounds heavier than Aaron Jones. We knew that stuff. I mean, Jordan Mason could be a double-digit touchdown guy this year. But I think there's also a scenario where, as good an all-purpose player as Aaron Jones is, this team wants to be able to dominate on the ground between the tackles, the A gap and the B gap. Look where they put their offseason. They went, between a first-round pick at guard, then they have a brand new center in Ryan Kelly. They have Will Fries, who was largely thought to be the best free agent guard available. They went guard, center, guard with massive amounts of equity in the offseason. They want to be more of a power running team.
Well, they better be. Because after 2022, I remember sitting at the scouting combine in Indianapolis on the second floor at a circular table in the ballroom, and Kevin O'Connell was like, we got to run the football better. So what'd they do after that offseason? They signed Josh Oliver, the run blocking tight end. Josh Oliver is a great run blocking tight end, one of the best in the NFL. But guess what? You can't be better in the run game with just a run blocking tight end.
Right.
So what do they do? And then they try Alexander Madison in 2023. It was atrocious. Then last year, it's like, okay, let's improve at running back. So they do Aaron Jones. But guess what? You do Aaron Jones, who's been very good and very productive in the NFL, but the interior of the offensive line has been the same that it's been since I got here. Right. Now it is not. And to have those three overhauled and to have Aaron Jones and platoon him with Jordan Mason, you better be creative in the run game. You better stick to it. It is a mass, especially with a young quarterback.
That's the thing.
It's just, it's paramount. And if we're having this conversation next offseason about how they got to run the football better, I'm going to be reaping or sowing or something because I can't do really much more of not seeing it be better.
Kwesi's done. We don't know how it's going to work out, but I think at least Kwesi's done the things necessary to get an inside power running game, and now you just hope it works out. What they don't want to have to do is ask J.J. McCarthy to throw the ball 38 times in games. They want him to throw the ball 25 times in games and just be efficient and go get the ball to your playmakers and not put the burden of winning on J.J. McCarthy more than you need to. He's a quarterback. You're always going to have a burden of winning. But you don't want to ask him to throw his arm out of socket to go win games. You want to have a very balanced approach and a run game that's so effective. JJ merely needs to be efficient in his first year.
I said this yesterday, but JJ McCarthy, the situation is this. JJ McCarthy just, he's looking for a new car. He's at the car dealership and someone tosses him the keys of like a 2025 Ferrari. With everything you could possibly, and he's like, really?
Fully loaded.
He's like, really? This is, all right, I got to drive this thing. You got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. You have,
TJ Hawkinson.
TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
You have the best, I want to remind people, Kevin O'Connell and this offensive staff, they've thrown for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns every year they've been here. With Kirk Cousins, the year with Kirk,
Mullins,
Josh Dobbs, Mullins, and Jaron Hall. Last year with Sam Darnold. And you also have J.J. McCarthy driving this Ferrari. You also have a defense that should be even better with an improved pass rush, and an interior of the offensive line that is better than what the previous quarterbacks here under Kevin O'Connell have had. So the way I framed it is like, all right, just drive it well, man. Just drive it well.
All right, last thing on J.J. McCarthy. He's only 22 years old. He's just a baby.
Crazy.
He's having a baby at 22. The mother is his fiance, Katya Koropas.
I think that, Katya, I know.
Katya, maybe it's Katya.
Katya.
And apologies for not knowing, but I don't follow like the personal lives of the players. I don't care.
I don't really either.
Apparently, they've been dating since high school, going back 6 years. Her father is the CEO of an EV vehicle company called Dash EV.
That's more reporting than I've done.
I did not know that. On Instagram, she's got 124,000 followers, which isn't half bad. And pivotally, J.J. McCarthy has announced it's a boy.
Yeah.
So, are you ready for this? The year is 2045. Kevin O'Connell hands the baton from then 42-year-old J.J. McCarthy to his son in training camp for the Minnesota Vikings 2045. What do you think?
Yeah. You're going to be in Utah watching the TV. He trots out on the field, and you're going to be so happy to see.
I'm going to be 20 years ago, I called it.
Yeah. No, first, I mean, congrats to JJ. That's awesome. Very cool situation. As far as handing the baton to JJ's son,
it's not too early.
I don't know. I mean, the question I would ask is, I mean, I can't imagine. Will I be covering the Vikings 20 years? I mean, what can you? I mean, I will say the book opportunities of like the new quarterback family thing you could do. I like the sound of that from a business standpoint on my end.
I mean, it's football's version, and we just hope that JJJ, would it be JJ Jr.? I mean, obviously we don't have a name yet.
Yeah, that'd be hard to know. The baby's not born.
The LeBron baton to Bronny has not maybe worked out in the way that some could have or would have anticipated or hoped or expected. Hopefully this baton from JJ to JJJ, Triple J, 3J, J cubed. I don't know. We're workshopping.
Will Stephen A. Smith be yelling at JJ? JJ confronts Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith's son.
Yeah, right. It might be right. Exactly. Stephen A. Jr. Thank you for coming in, Alec. It was great to have you here.
Always fun.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Charch.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Good to see you,
man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Wolves stuff is
deflating.
It's tough, but that team, I mean, the Thunder team it's just incredibly impressive.
They might be a team of destiny, and it may be at the end of the day. It just doesn't matter.
OTAs on Wednesday, is that right?
OTAs on Wednesday. JJ McCarthy's first competitive throwing environment since he walked off the field the preceason game against the Raiders. Can't wait. Yeah. Every pass that he throws will
scrutinized.
And I will say this, I'm talking to myself here because it is what I will be watching and looking and analyzing. But he could be working on mechanic stuff. So if it's not perfect, like we
won't panic yet.
Yeah,
but
everybody
the scrutiny level will be high. And it won't just be you. It'll be everybody who's watching, every media member, every fan.
But I'm not overreacting. Hey, this is 22 year. We got a runway here.
We got a long runway.
All right,
a perfect
good to see you
spot.
guys.
Thank you, Alec. We'll be back in moments.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
In the heat of battle, your squad relies on you. Don't let them down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Dominate every match with next-level speed, seamless streaming, and performance that won't quit, so you can push your gameplay beyond performance with Intel Core Ultra processors. For the next era of gaming, upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E and maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search. Power up at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
Hey, everybody. So, when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Ooh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, is telling everyone, let's face it in therapy. By talking or texting with a supportive, licensed therapist at Talkspace, you can face whatever is holding you back, whether it's mental health symptoms, relationship drama, past trauma, bad habits, or another challenge that you need support to work through. It's easy to sign up. Just go to Talkspace.com and you'll be paired with a provider, typically within 48 hours. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule. Plus, Talkspace is in-network with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. Make your mental health a priority and start today. If you're not covered by insurance, get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80. That's SPACE80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80.
Welcome back. Friday, football feast ostensibly, but not a lot of football here. In fact, we might be virtually done with football talk for the rest of this show. Although Dave Sinekin coming in momentarily, and we'll work in a little bit of Packer talk.
Yeah, it doesn't
maybe
really
a little Bear talk. Lavelle has chimed in asking which team did a better job of addressing their offensive line, Vikings or Bears. Maybe we'll ask a neutral party and Dave Sinekin and see what Dave thinks. A biased but neutral party in Dave Sinekin. Host of In the Zone, that'll be tomorrow, 8 to 10. Trent Tucker presumably will be there as well. You'll be able to hear that. Lots of Wolves reaction in the Zone, 8 to 10 tomorrow. So, Nordo, you and I have both poured out our guts and blubbered like babies in the last month. For you, much more salient reasons and better reasons than for me. I haven't had a chance to tell you this directly, but I've been able to know behind the scenes a lot of what you were going through, and just really, really proud of how you've supported your wife and your family, and you've been in the proverbial thoughts and prayers, but you have been, and my wife and I talking about that a lot, and we're really very, very happy that you appear to be in a good spot right now, and you can at some point start to resume some normalcy for your life and not make this the focal point of your life as it has been for several months now.
Yeah, that's nice of you to say, and it's true. All things considered, very blessed, and positive things are around the corner, Charch. Positive things are certainly
absolutely
nearing the front stage here.
4 weeks ago, I told listeners that I was moving to Utah. I say that like I was lying. I am moving to Utah.
Why are you here?
I am here now. I'm on stage 2 of the move.
You were gone.
I want to tell you about stage 1 that you missed in the last month. Well, I haven't been here and I haven't been talking to you guys. So to tell this story properly, I just need to back up time a little bit to shortly before I left. I made the announcement the day after the NFL draft.
Yeah.
We spent that show talking a lot about Donovan Jackson, but even the days leading up to that, when my wife and I decided to buy this house in Virgin, Utah, which is the real name.
Virgin.
Yes, yes. This is it's a real city. It's a very small city. It's a real city outside St. George. One of the things we decided was that we were going to leave our Plymouth house staged for sale after we bought the house there, because at the time tariffs are going crazy. The stock market is going, down 4%, up 3%, down 5%, up 2%. It was
very volatile.
Very volatile. We were worried the house was going to be on the market for 2 months. And I've got 2 dogs, and showing your house is hard enough, but doing it with dogs, and they're both epic shedders. I got fur everywhere. I got to clean the dog poop out of the backyard, all the stuff. And we just thought, you know what? We'll just leave the Plymouth house staged and we'll go down to Utah.
Yeah.
So step 1 of that is you have to get your house ready for photo day. That happened. That happened the Tuesday before the NFL draft. And the days leading up for that, it is a ton of work getting your house ready for the photos and like the VR shoot and that stuff. You got to clean, you got to do all the decluttering, all the cleaning, at least at the level that a photo would see. So we are working like dogs for 3-4 days before that. And then the house is going to go on the market the Tuesday after the NFL draft. So then the Wednesday, the day before the NFL draft, we close on the Utah house. Thursday comes. I'm here in the morning for the power trip draft party.
Yeah, the mock
that we
draft.
always do. Yep.
Stick around. What are we thinking tonight, Charch?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a
we do a
draft
little 9
party,
to noon.
smoke machine, the whole thing.
That's right. Then there's the draft party in the evening. And that goes till 10, 10:30, 11, whatever. Get home. Then we come back in here. We do 9 to noon. I do what is for me anyway, an emotional farewell. Then I have the looming Tuesday go on the market for the house.
Right.
We are Tuesday at noon. It's going to be the realtors open house where all the realtors come through, and so I got 3 days to be ready to show the house after the draft. The Saturday, I get COVID.
Oh, come on.
And I'm in a bad spot. And it's COVID. And this will be my 4th time getting it. And I know some people are like, oh, yeah, I've had it. I think I've had it like 3 times. I don't know. I've gotten it, lasted a day. It got better. It's never that way for me. I mean, it always crushes me.
You get knocked down.
I get knocked down. But our house has to go on the market, and we have so many things to do in 3 days. So working like crazy Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday, we hook up our camper and we head to Utah with just bare necessities. I got like 4 plates. I got 4 knives. I got 4 spoons. I've got just a handful of bare necessities.
Yeah.
And I'm going to head down to Utah so I can leave the Plymouth house staged. We love our camper. It's got all our stuff in it. It's got a bed we're comfortable in. So we're going to stop. It's a 4-day drive. We're going to stop at campsites each night. We're in Mitchell, South Dakota, first night.
Corn Palace?
Didn't do Corn Palace. But that is what Mitchell's known for.
Yeah.
Pull into this KOA. An otherwise nice KOA, but unfortunately it's surrounded by farms and it's manure spreading time. And it stunk. It was so bad. But the real problem, as it turns out, we hook up to campsite power. And we're doing our thing. 1 a.m, wake up. We're cold. Furnace is not running. We're like, okay, what's going on? There's no power. No power in the camper. 1 a.m, Mitchell. It's going down to 46 degrees. Get up, look, it's 49 in the camper. Oh, man. I'm sick. Really sick. And it's 49. I'm like, I don't know what the deal is. Maybe it's just, maybe we're in a lot with bad power or whatever.
Yeah.
Get up the next morning, suffer through the night, get up the next morning, and we're like, okay, well, we'll tighten down the battery. You know, we're talking through as we continue driving west. We're talking through all the various things that could be problems for this and why we think we're still safe going to the next campsite. We get to Laramie, Wyoming, and they've closed the highway due to high winds. And now we had our reservation planned in somewhere in Wyoming and where we're going to stay. Now I got to go invent some new place. And we're winding our way through county roads to something called Craig, Colorado, which I had never heard of. It's outside Steamboat Springs, which is beautiful, by the way. And Craig is not. It's late at night. We've been driving all day. I'm super sick. And at the end of a long driving day, all I want to do is collapse. We pull into this campsite. It's pretty dumpy. And we said some things in frustration that we would later come to regret.
Okay.
And we pull into our campsite. The guy next to us is playing mariachi music, and he's got a puppy that is bark, 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 bark. And I got 2 dogs, so that, of course, activates my dogs, and they're barking back. And
Scraps can't help himself.
And the light, we're running out of sunlight at the end of the day, and we hook up our power to the campsite's power, and we have no power.
Oh, come on. Must just be 2 campsites in a row. What's the luck?
So I'm out tinkering with the battery. I'm trying to find some way to get power in this thing. I'm hooking, I'm unhooking, I'm trying different cables.
Are you still
I'm
sick
not an
at this
electrician.
point?
I'm in the throes of COVID, and we're already worn down from basically week at least a week of working on the house and everything else. The guy next door playing the mariachi music with the dog comes over and starts trying to help me. And at this point, I'm taking all the help I can get.
Yeah.
It's going to be 26 degrees that night. I have no power. The sun's going down. We're trying, every combination of things we can think about with our battery and the wiring, everything else. And after about 45 minutes of tinkering with this, the power comes on. We're like, oh, thank God. We had all but decided we were going to hook everything back up. When we have a pull behind camper. There's work and effort, about a half hour into getting the camper up on the trailer, off of the trailer.
Sure.
Getting it up, hooked up to the truck or not. We were just like, we were going to have to go to a hotel, but we got power. I was so grateful for Arturo, traveling nurse.
Mariachi guy.
Couldn't have been nicer. He brings over, he's been grilling this whole time with him and his wife. Brings over a plate of steak, chicken, Mexican rice, and guacamole.
Oh, come on.
Oh, thank God, Arturo. And I had a lot of moment of self-reflection about some of the things that I thought when I pulled into this dumpy campsite.
Yeah.
Here's Arturo, a traveling trained registered nurse who was next to me and gave up almost an hour of his time trying to get a stranger's power on in his camper. So we go to bed. Thank God we have power. We go to bed. 1 a.m. Power goes out. Our battery is drained. We have no furnace, and it's going to go down to 26 degrees. I did not know the phrase 3-dog night and what that meant until that night.
I just thought it was a band name.
I always thought it was just a band name. A 3-dog night is when it's so cold, you have to get 3 dogs into your bed to keep you warm. And my wife and I had a 2-dog night.
Yeah, you always start with 2 anyway.
We start with 2.
Yeah.
We had a 2-dog night. And by the time we got to about 6:30 in the morning, when we decided we got to go, it was down to 29 degrees in the camper.
I'm impressed. Maybe I don't know if I'm impressed. When I have the battery issue in Mitchell, okay, I did not go to the Corn Palace. It's manure spreading season.
Yeah.
Battery. I'm staying in a hotel. As soon as your plans were messed up and highways closed and you got to find secondary option.
Yep.
My secondary option is the Fairfield. My secondary option is a hotel.
That's right.
With a parking lot so I can park said fifth wheel in it. But you were motivated. You were motivated to fix this.
And we loved our camper. And also with 2 dogs, you can't stay overnight anywhere for less than about $200. By the time you get the room, you pay for the room, you pay the upcharge to have dogs, taxes, fees, blah, 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 whatever. You're at $200 a night.
Okay.
My campsite's $60. So, that's factor two. And when you move, all you do is leak money when you move. It's so expensive. There are so many things involved that cost money. And so, we're watching dollars, trying to be sensible. And so we didn't want to do hotels. But as you can imagine, after Craig, the next 2 nights were hotels. That was it. That was, we're not messing those again. And I'll fast forward a little bit to later in the story. When we finally get to our destination, southern Utah, we bring in our trailer. They can't find anything wrong. Everything works perfectly.
Really?
Yeah. The electric works perfect. They cannot find a problem.
So they powered it up?
Yep. Everything works great. So,
a texter popped in. Fair question. Did you tell the mariachi guy you had COVID? And did Arturo, while he's offering you a plate of paella, did you let him know, like, hey, you got any antibiotics?
At the time, okay, yes and no. I did tell him I was sick. At the time, I didn't know I had COVID. I thought I just had a cold.
All right.
So I'm on day 4 of it at this point, and I didn't. We had so many other things going. Testing to see exactly what I have did not hit the mark. Oh, and by the way, day 2 in Mitchell, I picked up pink eye. So just on top of everything else, I got a case of pink eye. It was
okay.
I know the whole thing was diseased, literally.
What are you doing with that pillow?
I'd rather have the scabies the PA's dealing with right now. So 2 more hurdles have yet to happen to me. As I'm now I have to conquer the Rockies pulling my trailer, which I've done the Rockies a couple of times pulling the camper. It's a 6,000-pound camper, so it's not trivial. But the Rockies are always, it's always a challenge. I'm in the middle of the Rockies. It's going to be almost a whole day. This whole next day is either up or down a 7, 8, 9 degree, uphill or downhill.
Sure.
And 2 things. First, my beloved wife, God love her. We ended up behind a gigantic truck that was going 7, 8, 9 miles an hour on a 1-lane road.
Ugh.
And she would not pass. We went 7, 8, 9 miles an hour because she just couldn't get up the nerve to pass this truck. That almost killed me. But then what did literally almost kill me, as I'm going down one of the big inclines, my brake controller in the truck fails. Now, if you don't know, pickup trucks have a brake controller that let you activate the brakes on your trailer.
Right.
It's in the dash, and it's a little knob that you squeeze together, and you can apply brakes to the trailer because you don't want to try to do all the braking with your truck's brakes because you'll burn out the brakes.
Right.
So you don't want to do that. So it conks out. I get an error message on my dash, and I have no brakes in the trailer. So we're doing everything we can think of. I'm downshifting. I'm going down the hill at 6,000 RPMs to get drag, into the engine.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to brake with the truck's brakes at all. And it was scary. We got there. Obviously, I'm alive, but that was a white knuckle moment. And then finally get to Virgin, Utah, get to our new house.
And everything works.
We had a punch list of 15 things that our inspector had asked them to do that they had found and that they agreed to do. And in fairness, they did 14 of the 15. But they must have done it. This is an arid environment. And my backyard is just dirt. It's an unfinished backyard. They must have done it with all the work with the doors open, because I walk into my new house and there is a sheen of dirt over everything.
Oh my God.
The countertops, the floors, everything. And I don't have a mop. I got basic necessities. I don't have a mop. I don't have a broom. I don't have a vacuum. And that was my greeting to my new house.
That's unbelievable. I don't know. How did they do it? You know, we got Gold Rush, we got Great Western Expansion, we got all of these. How did people get out there?
I ask myself that all the time. How did human beings make it out here when they weren't on paved roads? It's unbelievable. And at that point, my COVID was still in full force at that point because, you know, for me, this is like it's 3 weeks. It's a 3-week commitment.
It is.
The COVID bit. So, yeah, it was I was as mentally and physically broken when we got to the house, mentally and physically broken more in that moment than any other time of my life. Oof. All right, we're way overdue. I just didn't want to break on a break. I just didn't want to break up this captivating, self-absorbed story to actually be on time with our clock.
You should have stayed at a hotel.
At the end of it, for sure.
If it was $140 more.
I know. And we did after that. Eventually, you give in. When we come back, Dave Sinekin. Is he in studio or is he on phone?
He said he was going to be here.
All right, good. Well, he's not here yet, so apparently it's a good thing that I was rambling on.
Probably out in the hall.
Yeah, he might be just listening, going, God, when will he wrap up? Well, that turns out that it's right now.
Okay, have you heard about this? Last year, Degree changed the formula for their Cool Rush deodorant. Their fans rebelled and wanted the old scent back. And Degree listened. That doesn't happen often.
They admitted that they effed up and are bringing the original Cool Rush scent back. And it's exactly how you remember it. Cool, crisp, and fresh. There's a reason it's the #1 men's antiperspirant. And it's back in Walmart, Target, and other stores for under $4.
So try it and see what the fuss is about. Head to your local stores to try the OG Cool Rush for yourself.
Do you own a business that's ready to thrive? It's time to let Intuit QuickBooks take things like unpaid invoices and tracking expenses off your plate so you can take things to the next level. Intuit QuickBooks is an all-in-one business platform that can help with those day-to-day tasks like invoicing and expenses. Manage and grow your business all in one place. Intuit QuickBooks, your way to money. Money movement services are provided by Intuit Payments, Inc., licensed as a money transmitter by the New York State Department of Financial Services.
Does Friendly have a taste? If it does, it's probably like Hello's peppermint-flavored anti-plaque and whitening toothpaste. Brush away plaque, show tartar who's boss, and remove surface stains to naturally whiten. Hello's thoughtful and flavor-forward products make brushing your teeth feel like a confetti-filled bathroom dance party. So say hello to Hello with the always cruelty-free, never tested on animals toothpaste that's made to spread smiles. Visit HelloProducts.com and let Hello add some everyday yay into your life.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.